nearly 50% of American marriages end in divorce. This is a truly staggering number that has only been increasing in recent decades. As can be expected, this has a major effect on society and especially the families involved. Children who have divorced parents rarely have any say in the outcome of their parents' marriage, but are stuck living with the consequences. There are a couple of key terms that we must know when talking about divorce. The first one is, what is a nuclear family? The second one is resilience, and finally the third one is success. First, a nuclear family is a family that consists only of parents and children. Divorce disrupts this dynamic as this family is now divided, and oftentimes one parent is partially or completely absent. This divorce develops resilience. According to Gutel J. Rahil, an associate professor of behavioral and community sciences, and her colleagues, resilience is a changing process of adapting to traumatic events. Divorce can definitely be considered a traumatic event in a child's life, because a child's entire life is turned upside down in a very short amount of time. Because of this, children with divorced parents are forced to develop resilience much earlier than others. But does this resilience actually make them more successful in the long run, as many people might think? Well, in order to determine this, we must first define what success is. According to the Merriam-Webster Dictionary, success can be defined as the achievement of a desirable or favorable outcome. However, this definition does not define what it means to be successful in life. Instead, being successful in life can be defined as being better off than the average person in terms of education, wealth, and relationships. So all of this begs the question, does resilience and adaptability developed because of parental divorce benefit children in adulthood? Based on research, it can be shown that resilience and adaptability born from divorce have negative effects on adulthood success. One of the first places that divorce negatively affects is employment. This is quite surprising because according to Ingrid Potgieter and Lemekatso Mwande, two associate professors in the Department of Human Relations at the University of South Africa, resilience is one of the most desirable traits that a job applicant can have. However, according to Thomas Chamorro Premuzic, a professor of business psychology at the University College of London and Columbia University, and Derek Lusk, the head of executive assessment at AIIR Consulting, resilient people are more likely to put up with boring or demoralizing jobs for longer than needed. This leads to unhappiness and complacency at work, as people are dissatisfied with their job. Another negative effect with resilience regarding employment is that these people are less likely to seek out help and instead put up walls and avoid groups. This is very similar to the actions of children who experience divorce during their childhood. These children fear emotional attachment and are never able to learn the importance of relationships and teamwork. So instead, they feel like they must do everything by themselves. The roots of employment issues for these children of divorcees are planted long before they actually enter the workforce. They are planted during their childhood because their family is unable, or they struggle to find high-quality jobs due to their lower levels of educational attainment. According to Adrian Coleman, a youth studies expert in Australia, children whose parents get divorced get on average half a year's less education than children whose families remained intact. This time is massively detrimental to these people as they either enter the workforce later or with a large gap in their knowledge. Another issue is that these people are much less likely to attend a prestigious school because of the cost associated with it. The median household income of many single-parent households is $43,949. This is not near enough to cover the cost of many prestigious schools, which usually have tuitions well over $50,000. So this begs the question, why don't these people just apply for financial aid? Many of these people are unwilling to apply for financial aid because of the long-term repercussions that are associated with it. If they get student loans, the interest rate is around 5%. And this hinders many people from applying to or attending college because they don't want to pay this back over the long term. These loans seriously cut into the amount of wealth they're able to accumulate because they're spending a portion of their paycheck paying them back instead of saving or investing. In addition to this, children of divorcees are less likely to take risks in their career with high that are more likely to yield higher paying jobs because they are not able to fall back on their family for support. They don't have the safety net that other people do. According to Isabel Sahil, a senior fellow in economic studies at the Brookings Institution, the net worth of lone parent families was over $250,000 less than the net worth of couples with children. Because of this, people are often forced to settle for low-paying, entry-level jobs that do not provide the same amount of financial stability that others do. This creates an endless cycle of people being stuck in financial jail that they cannot escape because they're stuck in a lower class. In addition to all these other negative effects, children of divorced parents also experience negative effects in their relationships because of the resilience. They are much more likely to experience a divorce than people who did not have parental divorce during their childhood. This can largely be attributed to their increased trouble in forming attachments that stems from watching their parents go through a divorce, so they fear abandonment. According to Mahesh Gupta, a licensed psychologist in Savannah, Georgia, happiness results in part from pleasant interpersonal relationships. But if relationships are associated with negative outcomes from the beginning, people begin to expect these outcomes and become desensitized to them and are willing to put up with far too much. This leads to increased rates of unhappiness amongst children of divorced parents. So in conclusion, as divorce rates are rising, so are the number of children who are affected by parents' divorce. Children have to develop resilience much earlier as a result of this, and this leaves them disadvantaged and less successful than their counterparts who did not experience parental divorce. Thank you. Can I set this down?
You may. Rohan, what information did you need that you weren't able to find or locate?
I wish I could have found like a long-term study of where they began with children who were younger and then follow them all the way through adulthood, and then seen so that way they could actually determine the success levels instead of just finding for each individual thing.
Okay. How did you use the conclusions or questions of others to advance your own research?
So when I started out my research, it very much seemed like it was going to say that resilience was beneficial to these people. But then as I researched more and I saw more scholarly articles with data and stuff about it, I began to realize that resilience was actually very detrimental to these kids in their adult lives because they no longer, I'll just cut it off there. Yeah, they couldn't handle it anymore.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.